All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back. Great to see you guys in this early live stream. I got kind of sidetracked in the comments here, so I went a couple seconds past the start time, but that's okay. We got quite a few things to talk about. We got MicroStrategy buying some more Bitcoin. This is their 8th straight week in a row that they've been buying. This is unbelievable. The guy is a GOAT there, Michael Saylor. We got that. We got BitDigital also coming out that they bought another site in Quebec. We'll talk about that, some of the details behind it as well. We'll look at the miners, a couple of the miners, how they performed when they reported quarterly results that were actually pretty good. And will we see the same kind of thing happening here again? And then we'll take a look at what happened today with Bitcoin miners. Kind of did what I thought I was going to do. They went down. So it was what it was. We're in a downtrend right now with Bitcoin. Okay. But we'll get into all that and everything else. And as always, you guys know the drill here. Not this one right here. Not financial advice for entertainment only. Please do your own research as always. And full disclosure down below that. Hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. And let's get into what we are seeing here right now in the charts with Bitcoin and the miners. This is the weekly here. We'll get into that here in a second. Here daily, we were down again a little bit today. We're still down about 1.26% on the day, right? 1.13, sorry. On that one, we are still at 92,509. We went down to a low of 91,271. So we are battling with this like 91,000 mark. I mean, we can see it over here that it is somewhat of a support here, like 91,000 more or less is support for us right now on this time frame. If we break below that, I still think we're going to be going down lower. We broke past the 50 simple moving day average here. We're under it for the last 3 days. We've been under it. So that's a downward trend that we're going to continue to see, I think, until we get to like 75,000 maybe. I would think that would be probably the bottom on it. And that would be roughly 30% from the top here, which we were at 108,000. So going down to, 75,000 was going to be, where is it at? Going all the way down here. Yep, 75,000 would be possibly the bottom here. That's the lowest, and I think we would go. I actually think we might kind of, for at least the next, I would say maybe a week or two. After that, I think things should reverse for us, especially when we look at like the weekly chart as well. We can see that the weekly chart has bounced off historically off of the 50-day simple moving day average here, which we're way off on that, but that would get us down to about 68. I think in a couple of weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, we might be higher on that, closer to 75,000. That's why I'm saying that might be the bottom there, where we bounce off of it, where we have done so in the past as well. We did it here. We did it right here as well. Once we got above it and stayed above it for a while, we do bounce off of that 50. So those are the trends that I'm kind of looking for right now on Bitcoin to see if that does happen. If we do continue to go down, right? If we don't, I'm going to be happy about that also. But in the meantime, I am looking to buy some more. I don't know exactly when I'll be buying, but I am looking to buy more, especially with the miners being down quite a bit here in the last couple of weeks. So I've been buying here even back then at higher prices. So I'm going to kind of dollar cost average down a little bit more on these guys as well. MicroStrategy, obviously we talked about that. We'll talk about it a little bit more in the news section side of things. But that one was down today, even with MicroStrategy buying another, what was it, like 2,000 some odd Bitcoin here. It was down today, and it just stayed down pretty much throughout the day. It was down 8.19%. It's down, closed at $302. I think we are so close to this gap over here getting possibly filled, so I think there's still some more pain to be felt with anybody that's owning MicroStrategy stock right now. And if we get close to filling this gap, I think that might be a good entry point if you haven't gotten into it already. And then from there point, which might take us a couple of days to get down there. If it happens here, we're so close to that today as it is. So I think this gap might get filled here. We do have a gap here a little bit from today, and that'll get filled on the way up. But I think we might come down here a little bit as well. So maybe 280 or something like that might be the bottom there. I would think that would be basically the gap getting filled there at that point. And like I said, a pretty good entry point as well. Okay. Now the miners here. Miners were down single digits for the most part. I don't see anybody else being like double digits except for Digihost there on the smaller miners. Bitfarms was down 5.5%. BitTBT was down 5 3/4. Cypher was down 4.1. Cleanspark was down 2 3/4. CORZ was down 1.2. Hive was down 1.8. HUT down 3.6. IREN down 7.2 almost. Marathon 6.2, so almost 6 1/4 there. Riot was down 4.5 roughly, and Wolf was down 3.8. So it's just a continuation of what we're seeing here with not only happening with Bitcoin, MicroStrategy, but the miners themselves. And there's another story that we have on this. It's a lot of the old hodlers of Bitcoin are basically selling it. The ones that have gotten into it at much lower price points. Could be a couple of things happening there. Could be just net loss, tax loss harvesting happening here, end of the year profit taking and putting it on the books basically. So we still have tomorrow for trading on the miners as well for the end of the year here, and then we'll see how things going forward. But I still think eventually, I don't know exactly when it's going to happen, but I think eventually Bitcoin and the miners will reverse trend, and it's just going to be a matter of time when that happens. I think a couple of things to, like I said, to take a look at would be the 75,000 mark would be possibly the bottom for it if we do get there. And then I think somewhere maybe even 85,000, something like that, would be a good spot to bounce off of also if we don't hold those spots. Okay, so that's it on those guys here. A couple of things I want to take a look at on some of the miners here. So we know that the miners were in a pretty bad situation here the last, I would say, 6 months or so, with the halving events happening, them getting their revenues cut in half. But the miners that have been growing nicely with their hash rate getting to where it's basically, some of these guys have doubled and tripled their hash rate in a year's time. Those guys should be doing really well. A lot of the miners right now will be also in profit when it comes to the earnings per share for Q4, especially with Bitcoin being at an average price of around like 96,000 for the quarter. It seems like maybe 90,000, something like that for the quarter. So it should be a really good quarter for these guys. They should start providing results for that come February, somewhere around there, towards the middle of February, end of February as well for these guys. And we should see a nice catalyst there. And the reason I state that is because if we look at like IREN here really quick, IREN came out, let's look at the weekly here, that'll be easier. They had a nice beat here on earnings here, right? Revenues were up. Surprised they were also up on positive on EPS. We started to get also quarterly results from them here regularly from them, which was good. And you can see what the stock did. After those results came out, the stock took a nice little rocket ship ride upwards, right? So it went all the way up here, about 300% before it was all said and done on it. So I think the earnings releases might be a catalyst for these guys. And this was right before, obviously, this was actually still in May. This was actually after the halving event that happened in April. One of the things that they did there was good EPS, right? They beat. They also came out saying that they're going to get to 20 exahash by the end of Q3. Excuse me, and to 30 exahash by the end of the year, which they did. So they're going to be definitely generating more here. And then we saw a couple of quarters here where they were in the red, which a lot of the miners were in the red because their revenues were cut in half. But nonetheless, we still had a nice rally here going into them, even after that report here, after the earnings here. You can see here that they were down. More than we thought, but they still rallied up into it. So there's one. Cleanspark is another one here that we saw a nice rally on earnings here. You can see this over here. We're kind of started front running on this earnings a little bit here. We had earnings. This was back in November of 23. The stock did a nice run up here from the bottom here to basically the top over here. Went up 272% within a matter of a couple of weeks. It did pull back a little bit. Then they had another great earnings here as well. And what did the stock do? Stock ran up again here, right? It went up even higher this time around. Went up like, well, almost 270% as well. Could we see a similar thing happen in 2025 where the miners report great quarterly results for Q4, right? Their HODL has increased tremendously as well, which should help them with the FASB rules going into it. So that's going to contribute to their EPS numbers. And then if Bitcoin continues to stay up or goes past 100,000 again, goes up closer to like 120,000, 125,000, wherever it might be by the end of Q1, and they report great numbers again, right? Another rally into it all. So I think the best is yet still to come. I don't think it's over yet for the miners. I think we are going to be in this kind of funk right now, at least in the next couple of weeks. But after that, things should pick up not only for Bitcoin, but for the Bitcoin miners here. We saw the same thing happening with Mara as well. Mara had great earnings here. Mara stock, right, had a surprise. And the stock also went up quite nicely here from there to all the way to the top was 333%. So huge gains are in a matter of weeks on that one. Came back down. They had a positive EPS also here, kind of went up even higher on that. And then it pulled back, and this was right around March, right before the halving event. And then even after the halving event, they had good numbers for what was that, that would have been Q1 for them in May that they reported here. Right, yeah, that would have been May for Q. And then we see the stock actually did go up even after the halving event. So that's why I think the earnings might be a catalyst for these miners to start really running up here, especially as Bitcoin stays in this area or goes up higher from where we are right now. But Time will only tell on that, but that's kind of what I'm thinking here, what I'm seeing, and let me know if you guys agree or disagree on this. Okay, so there's that on those. A couple stories that we do have here really quick. Bitcoin's obviously down for the month, 1.93% as of right now. Bitcoin drops to 92,000 as long-term hodlers keep taking profit, right? So that's why we're seeing the downward pressure. There's a couple of things driving that potentially. Let me go about it in here. So the selling pressure is partially caused by investors cashing out after Bitcoin shot up more than 170% this year. Profit taking currently exceeds 1.2 billion on a 7-day moving average. And while that is significantly less than the December 11 peak of 4 billion, it's still much more than usual. Additionally, the lion's share of profits is being taken by investors who have held Bitcoin for many years, right? So people that got into Bitcoin last cycle or the prior cycle that bought it at much lower prices, if you had a couple of Bitcoin, you're doing pretty good, right? With Bitcoin at 100,000. So that's why we're seeing a lot of selling pressure here. And a lot of people are also maybe fearful that Bitcoin will not continue to go up. Economics-wise are also weighing on the market, while the U.S. Chicago PMI, which measures the performance of the manufacturing and non-manufacturing sector in the Chicago area, flashing its lowest reading since May, suggesting an economic slowdown is underway, right? So that's also a possibility there. And then here's a quote from, let's see, I'm not going to be able to pronounce his name here. We'll just call him Joe. Looking ahead to 2025, I'm optimistic, but expect the path to diverge from consensus, as the markets often do. Bitcoin's adoption continues to grow, and I anticipate it will generally move in line with traditional markets. If the U.S. avoids a significant growth slowdown, Bitcoin should perform well, though the ride may be bumpier than in 2024. I mean, Bitcoin ride was pretty bumpy as it is in 2024. So if it's a little bit more bumpier, okay, that's fine. Could be also get much higher. I do think so. Right? If we do just another 100% gain in Bitcoin, we're looking at 200,000 Bitcoin at that point, right? Bitcoin was up 117% here in 2024, is what they state. So yeah, if we get close to that, I'll be really, really happy with that. And especially if we get the strategic Bitcoin reserve on there, other countries doing it, so forth. You guys know the drill and all the spiel there. Then going back here to MicroStrategy, right? They bought another 2,138 BTC, adding to stash for the 8th consecutive week. I mean, this is just nonstop with Michael Saylor and company there. They are just buying. They're DCing. They don't care what the price of Bitcoin is. They are just going to buy more. It's MicroStrategy here, the company which already holds more Bitcoin than any other publicly traded company, bought another 2,138 Bitcoin for $209 million in the week ended December 29th, bringing its total holdings to 446,400 BTC. Oh my gosh. Once again, Executive Chairman Michael Saylor teased the announcement on Sunday in a post on X. The average purchase price of the Bitcoin was $97,837, which raised the average purchase price to $62,428 for them. The purchase was funded through share sales under the company's at the market offering, for which they have $6.8 billion left on the ATM program. Wow. So they still have plenty of buying to do before they are said and done. And they're just going to keep buying. Every week they're just going to buy more. Eventually there's going to be a liquidity crunch on not only the OTCs, but on exchanges and everything else. How much more can they buy that's going to be available to them? Yeah, you still might get, obviously, people selling that bought it at much lower cost, and they're going to be basically pulling those Bitcoins out. So I'm still really bullish. Long term, I'm still really bullish. Short term, it's looking a little bit bearish right now, but that's okay, right? From where I'm seeing at least. And then finally here, we got Bit Digital news here. So they acquired another metropolitan site for a Tier 3 data center for expansion. And here's the details that we have on it today. They announced today that it has acquired the real estate and building for a build-to-suit 5 megawatt Tier 3 data center expansion project in Montreal, Canada. So this is not an actual Tier 3 data center. It's something that they can retrofit to make it into a Tier 3 data center. This acquisition is part of Bit Digital's strategy to expand its HPC data center footprint to 32 megawatts during 2025. This site also comprises part of Bit Digital's 288 megawatt proprietary pipeline announced earlier this year. Okay. Bit Digital purchased the site M2L2 for Canadian $33.5 million, approximately $23.3 million US dollars, assuming an exchange rate of 0.7. Excluding fees, the acquisition closed on December 27th, so that was last Friday. Yeah. Bit Digital initially funded the purchase with cash on hand and is in the process of securing mortgage financing for both the site acquisition and subsequent infrastructure capex. So basically, they paid about $4 million. Approximately four. Let me see here. What's going on here with my? Oh, looks like my laptop got unplugged here. Okay, I got to make sure that I move the mouse on it. Sorry. They paid about $4 million roughly per megawatt there for that, which is definitely lower than what you would normally think of. Between like 8, 10 to 12 maybe megawatts, 10 10 million per megawatt to build out a tier 3 data center, but they're going to be spending some more money here. The company expects to spend approximately an additional 27.6 million, or about 19.3 million, so about 20 million here, to develop this site to a tier 3 standards with an initial gross load of 5 megawatts. So add that on top of the 23 that they got there already. So now you're looking at approximately, what is that, 43, roughly 43, 42 million. So now you're looking at roughly right around that range, right around 8 million per megawatt to build out a tier 3 data center. The MTL2, a 160,000 square foot site that was previously used as an encapsulation manufacturing facility, is located in Pointe-Claire, Quebec. Digital plans to retrofit the site with advanced cooling technology, including direct-to-chip liquid cooling, which enhances energy efficiency and supports AI and other high-performance workloads with 100 kilowatt rack density. The company is collaborating with third parties to implement a heat reject loop to further enhance the sustainability profile of the data center. The facility will be powered by 100% renewable hydroelectricity provided by Hydro-Quebec. Additionally, the site offers potential to expand, enabling scalable growth aligned with market demand. So this is really good. This is the continuation of their path going into more into HPC AI, which they've talked about for a long time, and they've been doing it. They've been executing on it. So congrats to Sam and the team there on this. I still think that the stock is probably way undervalued from where it really should be. I'm looking at BitDigital here. Where is it at? I put it down to smaller miners here. BitDigital, it's right there, $3. It did peak at about $5.74 this year, right? It's been coming down here on it ever since then. And that's kind of the sentiments we've seen in the markets in general, that, you know, miners and even HPCI players are coming down in price, getting kind of revalued a little bit on that. And yeah, I think they're still way undervalued from where they really should be. They're not really being valued on their Bitcoin mining potential there or the current contracts that they have in place for their HPCI business. We do know that one of the contracts there, I think they have another 2 years on it. I think it can extend even more, which would be nice because that one brings in quite a lot of revenue for them right now. But yeah, I think they're doing all the right things here. Buying data centers, having more control over those things is definitely the way to go, I believe. Okay. So that's it on all the news stories that we have here. I don't think there's anything else that I wanted to cover. And we covered all that stuff. We covered the miners as far as when they might start running up as well, once they start reporting their quarterly results. So everything is pretty much covered, which is nice. Also, I did look at, we did a poll yesterday about the sound effects. And so there was definitely overwhelming support for not to do those sound effects. So I will more or less keep those out. I'll keep it to a minimum. Let's just say that. We'll do a sound effect here or there, but it's not going to be like I'm going to be going crazy on sound effects. You know, some of you guys said you guys like the crying baby one. I did turn down the volume on it. Here's a test. You guys can let me know if this is going forward. We will leave it at that. There's a baby crying. Hopefully that's not loud enough, and hopefully it doesn't scare your cats. So we'll keep it to a minimum. I do have just a couple of things in there. I think there's only going to be like really 5 things. We got a cheer. We got a oh no. I may take the oh no out part. A crying baby, a boo, and then a bear and a bull. And that's basically it. So I'll keep it to a minimum. But yeah, let's get into your guys' Q&A side of things here. See what you guys have to say. See, DEF CON is overwhelmingly against sound effects. Let's see. Let's go back into here, and I want to go to Q&A. There we go. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Also, the questions, if you guys could preface those with a question or a Q, right? And then the question itself, that helps me out. That way I know which ones are questions or not. I'm going to scroll up a little bit here on the, see if there's any questions that I missed earlier, and then we'll get into everything here. All right. So let's see. I do see a question. Okay. I do see a couple questions here. I'm going to start right here. So it's about halfway up. There we go. A question, who will follow BTC first to the upside, altcoins or miners? Ooh, I don't really track the altcoins that much anymore, like I did last cycle or the prior cycle as well. I would think the miners would, but I could be wrong. Okay, question, how likely is Bitfarms to have a good December operations report? Well, operations-wise, I think they're going to be good, right? They're usually really good as far as operations, uptime, and things like that. It's just a matter of how much do they actually install in December. That's going to be the big question there as well. And that, I don't know. We'll find that out. Probably not on the first day of the new year. We'll find it out probably on the second one. Okay, let's see. Andrew says, thanks, Seb. Do you listen to the whiners? It is healthy to wipe out the weak hands. I listen to everybody, right? Everybody. I always give everybody a fair share or fair shot at comments and things like that. The only time I would like kick somebody out for comments is if they're disrespectful, doing like hate things or something like that, inciting violence or something like that, those types of things. Other than that, I'm all for freedom of speech. I will heart and like your comments even if I don't agree with it. I really appreciate your guys' input in there. So I don't want to be just an echo chamber where I get rid of everything that I don't like. I want to be able to provide both sides of the story, right? Here's the way I see things, and then you guys see things differently, which is great. And that's the way I love kind of interacting with you guys on that part. Okay, what else do we have here? Scrolling down to see if we got any more comments or questions. I know we do because I passed them up here while I was scrolling. Where are they? Okay, here we go. Hi, Seb. Accounting question for Cleanspark. Will the 2024 year-end impairment expenses of $197 million be carried forward to 2025 fiscal year? And if so, would that drag down the profitability impact on Q1 report? No, I don't think it's going to drag forward on them. If it was impairment expense, I think it's a one-time impairment expense usually on those types of things. So I don't think it's going to carry over, right? They're still going to have some possible impairments, but I think they try to take everything out as much as they can at the end of the year. So then they have better numbers for the next quarters going forward. So I don't think that's going to be the case. We will probably still see bonuses in there. We'll see stock-based compensation. We'll see depreciation as well, right? That's going to be in there. So we'll have to see how those numbers look there for that. But they still should be pretty good numbers here based on what they're mining. And based on what I have right now, they should be, I think, if we look at it here, for Cleanspark, their current estimate is, where was it at? Oh, here it is, right there. Estimate is 153 million. I have them actually higher than that. I have them at, where is it at? Cleanspark, I was looking at this earlier, like 157, and that's with rough numbers right now, and them being at 33.7 exahash, which they are now at 37.5 exahash. So they could actually generate some more there. So I'm guessing they're going to be probably between 158 and 159 million, in revenue. So that should be also really good there for them. That's going to be their biggest quarter yet that I've recorded for them. The prior best was in Q1 of last year in March, where they reported 111 million, right? This is 157. That's going to be a nice beat for that. So things will be a lot better for them at that point. But yeah, we'll see where Bitcoin is and everything else is at that point. Okay, going back here. Okay. Questions. Since Powell said no Bitcoin for reserve, do you still think BTC will get in reserve and up to more than 110,000K? Well, Powell can say whatever he wants, right? He's just a Fed chair there, but there's laws that he has to work around, or there's laws that govern him as far as what he can and can't do. So if it gets put on the books through the House, Senate, and then the president signing it, that it's going to be on there, it's going to be on there, right? So they're going to have to manage that as well. So I do think that we will go up more than 115 or 110,000. Okay, DEFCON, yeah, overwhelming again, sound effects. Let's see, what else do we have here? Yeah, crying baby is too close to how depressing everyone is around here. Everybody is definitely feeling it, right? I understand it. I'm feeling it too. It's tough to be optimistic when you're seeing things going down all the time. So I completely understand there. Let's see, talked about that one already. Let's see your question. How was the party? Party was good. Birthday party on Saturday was great. We got home, it was probably around 11, I think it was. So we had a great time. Okay. Let's see your question. I seen on post on X that showed that Cleanspark acquired 170 million in Bitcoin from Coinbase Prime. Have you seen this? And do you think this is just a movement of assets or a purchase? I did not see that. Let me see if we can find it from Cleanspark. Was it Matthew that posted that, or was it actually Cleanspark that did it? Bear with me here while I go into X really quick and see if we can find Cleanspark, see if that's, let's see, Cleanspark. Okay, Cleanspark. Let's see. It might have been just a movement from Coinbase or something like that. I mean, I don't see anything being posted on their timeline here. Yeah, so I don't see that, at least not right now. All right, where was I? Back to Q&A. I know what, I am at Q&A. Maybe I'll move my screens over. Okay, question. I think BTC will rebound at least by Trump inauguration, but do you see it rebounding sooner, first, second week of January catalyst? No, I don't think so. I could be wrong on this. I don't think it will. I think we're going to be heading downwards until we get to like 20, 25, 30% down from the top. Somewhere around there, and then I think at that point we will bounce off. So I don't know exactly when that's going to happen, but I know it's going to happen. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Hi, Sub, do you think the miners falling these last few days, the result of tax harvest? Thanks. It's part of that. It's also part of, well, Bitcoin's going down. So the miners are going to follow suit as well. So if people are selling Bitcoin because they're huge in the green, you know, they bought it at a much lower price, prior cycles or whatnot, they've been holding it for many years. Yeah, I mean, that's going to be a contributing factor to it as well. Which is the most undervalued miner right now? Right now, if we're looking at the numbers just for on like enterprise value to exahash, that would be Hive, the number one undervalued. Then you got, I think, Bitfarms, Cleanspark, IREN in there, Mawson, Riot as well. And those guys are all the most undervalued right now. Okay. Let's see, Mark says, please turn off the sound effect if possible. It is stressful. Is it still going? It shouldn't be going still. Yeah, I don't see it being on. Let me see here. If it is on, then yeah, I don't hear it. Sorry. Don't scare me like that. I thought the sound effect was still going with the crying baby the whole time. All right, question here. If Bitcoin drops to 75, 80,000 and you buy more stock from miners, how will you evaluate which one to buy? I'm gonna, same way I've always done it, is just looking at the data that they provide, right? Growth, things like that. Where are they now? What is the enterprise value to exahash? What's other metrics as well on it? And that's the way I'm gonna be doing it. Which ones do I see as possibly being the most undervalued at that point? Okay. Going down here. Will BTC drop by a lot tonight because the other side of the world is trying to finalize losses for tax? Tomorrow morning it will drop again for North America loss actualization. Maybe. I don't know exactly how much it's going to drop, but I believe it's going to drop. I don't think we're going to go up tomorrow. It'd be a nice surprise if we did. Let's see here. I hope you keep the sounds they rock. Just make sure they are not so loud, lest others get their ears and fifths hurt. Yeah, like I said, I'm going to keep it to a minimum with the sound effects, but I do kind of enjoy them. They're kind of fun. But we'll keep it to a minimum, way minimum. Okay. Submission will January 1st equal huge boost in BTC since tax loss for 2024 will be actualized. That I don't know. I think we're still going to be going down, whether it's, you know, we might get a bump in January 1st. Maybe. We might get a bump. But I don't think we're done going into the lower side of the Bitcoin just yet. I would be happily to be wrong on this. Trust me, I would love to be wrong on this, but just what I'm seeing here and historically what we've seen, Bitcoin has corrected 20, 30%. So we're not done with that correction, I don't think yet. See, Hard Knock says, big miners like Cleanspark, Mawson, Riot, and IREN are just insanely oversold here. I'm expecting a major turnaround in the first quarter myself. I'm thinking the same thing there. Okay. Hi, Seb. Does MicroStrategy will go down more with the current price? Your thoughts, please. I think there is a little bit more downturn to MicroStrategy. The Bitcoin continues to go down. I think it will also. And that's why I said it might be one of those things where it might go down just a little bit more, not much more, but just a little bit more. Where's my screen? There it is. So MicroStrategy right there, we're at 302 right now. We got this little gap right there between probably like 280 and, well, right around 294, 290, something like that. So I'd expect that to get filled. And then I think at that point, if Bitcoin continues to go down, we might then bounce off of the 100 simple day moving average here, which would be like at 240. So I think that would be like the bottom out, I would think. But time will tell. Time will tell everything. Nobody has a crystal ball, unfortunately. Okay, let's see here. I enjoy the sound effects. It just needs to be lowered in a bit in sound. Okay, so I lowered it a little bit more. I'm going to lower it just a tad bit more, another like 5% or something like that. You guys let me know if it's still too loud, okay? So we'll do a boo. Okay, let me know how that was. Okay. Question, why the early start? Are things slowing down at the factory? No, things are still busy, just not much happening in the miners. Usually what takes a lot of my time is putting in the data, right? So if I don't have to put in a lot of data, I can just pull up the stories that I want to talk about with you guys here, do some things like that, and that makes it easier for me. Also, the kids are out of school right now, so they're bored, out of their mind right now as it is, and so I want to kind of get done a little bit earlier. Plus, I'm going to Wolf X Space later on at 7, so I wanted to get this done at least and then have some time with the kiddos later on to play games and things like that. So that's the main reason why. Okay, let's see. Omar, thank you so much for the super chat. 11 character running the knee. Okay, that's the thing, but thank you for that. Keep up the great work. I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, would the U.S. miners get government energy credit for securing the blockchain if BTC becomes a reserved? No, that would still be favoring one industry over another. I don't think that would fly well with anybody else in that, so I don't think that will happen. Okay, your prediction for Bitcoin, Cleanspark, and Bitfarms, conservative and reasonable with confidence, 95%, not financial advice. Of course not financial advice. I still think that Bitcoin's going to go to like at least 200,000 or close to that. We might get to like 185, but I still think we might go even higher than that. So I would say I'm almost certain we're going to get to at least like 180,000. After that, it's all gravy. So as far as where could I see Bitfarms and Cleanspark at that point, well, Bitcoin goes at least 100% up. I would expect those guys to at least, at the very minimum, do at least a 2 to 3x, right? They could definitely do much better than that, even go like to a 5x on it. But exactly where they're going to end up at, I think is going to be largely dependent on their quarterly results, right? If those are really good, they beat estimates, beat consensus, that should be pretty good for them going forward. We saw that happening last year with some of these guys. So that's kind of where I would see things. What is your price target for IREN with BTC at 220,000? Well, at that point, like again, it should be probably like closer to $20, $30, if not higher than that as well. See, Private says, question, I couldn't find anything about the insider buying a ton of Bitfarms shares. Did you? I did find only one. It was, I think, a Philip something or other. I think about like 20,000 and 10,000 shares. So I think he bought like 30,000 shares in the last week or so. But I could not find anything on Ben either. Also, do you think the next, let's see, where is it? Do you think the next quarter report is going to be profitable, positive? I want to feel confident we get to 10. I do believe they should be profitable. Let's take a look at them and see where they are at right now. So we go here and we go to Bitfarms. I don't know what they're going to obviously install hash rate wise in December. So this is an estimate right now, right? So this current quarter numbers are estimates. But they should get to like 53 million based on the things I'm seeing here right now for them. I might get up a little bit higher, maybe like 54, maybe 54 and a half, something like that. But that's definitely going to be the best numbers they've had here since we've been tracking them. So they are going in the right direction there, right? And then so that's 53 million for the quarter. If we look at what they paid last quarter, one thing we have to remember with last quarter, they put in the payoff for the ex-CEO there into it as well. So that kind of muddied the numbers a little bit here. Because if we look at the expenses here, you can see that, where was it at? Selling general administrative was up to 27 million from 12.4 million, which was kind of in line with where they were in the past as well. So I expect that to come back down. And if that's the case, well, at that point, operating income loss was negative 43 million. A lot of it was contributed to that, but you take out like the share-based compensation and depreciation there, and they should be profitable at that point, right? How much of a EPS per share? Plus, they got some Bitcoin there as well. That could help them out. And actually, they can't because they're in Canada. They're not in the United States, so they can't take advantage of the FASB rules. So then, never mind. That won't help them out. But at least on the operation side of things, they should be doing much better here. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Back over here. All right. Let's see. Today, Brian Howlett purchased 6,000 Bitfarms shares, December 25th. Yep. Okay. Phil. Yep. 24 bought, 25 and another 10 on December. Ganyan bought 100. Where do you see that? See, that's the one I couldn't find. Was Ben 100,000 December? Do you think they have news coming? If they're buying, they're obviously thinking the stock is way undervalued from where it really should be, right? And maybe there is something coming up where maybe they do surprises and they actually get to 21 exahash by the end of the year. Fingers crossed, right, that that's going to happen, knock on wood, whatever. But will it happen? I'd love to see that happen. But I just don't know if that's going to happen. But that is a good sign. When insiders are buying, that is really good news. That means that they are bullish on their own stock and everything else. They see it as being way undervalued, which I agree. It is way undervalued. Let's see. Great stream as always. Thank you. People get too emotional with their stocks. Well, it's money, right? So I completely understand that. It could be a life-changing event for them, or it could be going into the poorhouse. So yeah, it's going to be definitely emotional for them. Do you think any miner will end up like Argo? That was a roller coaster the last cycle. This time around, yeah, I mean, they weren't the only ones. We had Mawson in there as well. We had Stronghold as another one in there. Sphere also. So there's quite a few of them that didn't do that well. They got pretty hurt by last cycle. This time around, I think the miners have been much more cautious, I would say. And they've also been, well, one, they haven't been using debt. They've been using the ATMs. Now they're using the convertible debts. I think that's a better way going forward. You don't put yourself in a position where Bitcoin drops down 50, 70% and you're, whatever you're securing that debt with, you got to give it away. Kind of what happened with Argo. So I don't see anything like that happening this time around. But you never know on it. I mean, a lot of these guys have a lot of Bitcoin still, much better operations as well. So I don't see it, at least not right now. Okay, let's see. Question: if Cleanspark reports revenue 150 to 160 million, is this number then divided by the outstanding shares to get the earnings per share? No, not that number. That's the total revenue, right? Then you have to take out the actual costs, operational costs, electricity costs, salaries, all that stuff. Once you take all that stuff out of that, then you would divide it by the number of shares at that point. And then private, yeah, same question. Where do you see that Ben bought 100,000 shares? That would be very bullish at that point, 100,000 shares at $2, I think it was, something like that. What was it on December 20th? Let's take a look here. Where is it? Bitfarms at here. December 20th was right there. Well, stock definitely came way down. It's $1.65, so that would be 165,000 for what he's making right now in salary and all that stuff. He can definitely afford to buy it. So yeah, I mean, that would be a great sign if someone could provide that information. I looked last night all over for it. I couldn't find it because somebody else had a question on it on Twitter. And I looked, there's sites that you would have to probably pay to get that information, but you would think that would be available through like SEDAR in Canada or through the SEC here in the United States, that should be readily available information, not something that's hidden behind the paywalls or something like that. But that's just my 2 cents. Okay, going back here. Let's see. You think Cleanspark Mara see even more downside? It's getting kind of insane. Yes, if Bitcoin continues to go down, we will see more downside. So be prepared for that. I think it might be the last really good buying opportunity possibly right now. What else do we have here? Okay, question. Just quit with the stupid sounds effects. This isn't playtime. This is about making money and sharing information. Sound effects are for children. Oh, you don't want to have any fun? Okay. That's why I said I'm going to limit it to a minimum here. I agree with you. This is about information and things like that, but try to make it a little bit fun because, I mean, a lot of you guys are like really, really down on this stuff. So I'm just trying to cheer you guys up a little bit. Not doing a very good job, am I? Okay, let's see. Okay, question. Maybe your mic has a limiter on it. Your voice is very low, so we have to turn volume to maximum to hear. However, your PC sound effect doesn't go through your mic, so it's way too loud. Okay. All right. No more sound effects. Okay. Question here. Okay. You have a separate laptop to play the sound effect and let the audio go through your mic, so everything should be fine. Then, oh, so if I played on, okay, I get you like a little speaker here, you guys would hear it through the mic. Okay. See, opposing viewpoints. Keeps it soundboard, get creative. I don't know. We'll see. I don't want to like make people mad because I'm using sound effects and they think it's cheesy or something like that. Let's see. Any advice for tax reasons? I prefer to hold a stock longer than 1 year. Is buying MicroStrategy now wise? Or what other stock do you like for a long-term hold? Okay, well, for some of these guys, none of these guys would be a long-term hold for me right now, right? If we're thinking the cycle is going to be the same as before, the cycle is going to end possibly sometime in 2025. We just don't know exactly when. We're thinking it's going to be like the third or fourth quarter. So none of these guys would be a year out hold. But even at that point, if you're up 2x, 3x, I mean, does it really matter if you have to pay an extra, 5, 10%, whatever in taxes? Probably not, right? So that's the way I would look at it. Is there a chance like MicroStrategy still could do at least a 2x or a 3x from where it is right now, especially once we bottom out with Bitcoin? And then can you, get that? If you can get that, I mean, wouldn't you mind paying the little extra just because you didn't hold it for a full year? I would. I wouldn't mind paying that. Okay. Which miners will have to raise capital in 2025 by selling more shares and dilute? We know that Cleanspark is fully funded to 50 at least. They could get to 63 exahash, I believe, is what Matthew pointed out on Twitter. Matthew Schultz, that is, from Cleanspark. IREN, I believe, is fully funded to also currently 30, I believe. I don't know if they're completely funded to 50x. They might be to 40, but not 50, I don't think. I don't know. On that one, Marathon has got a huge boatload of cash right now. I think they're good. We don't know exactly what their growth is going to be in 2025. So once we hear that, we'll see if at that point they're going to be diluting or not. Bitfarms, I'm sure, is going to be diluting because they're going to be buying Stronghold out in Q1 of 2025. So there's going to be dilution there because they're doing a share swap on that one. And who else do we have here? Cypher's building out, so they're going to have to dilute. Wolf did a convertible note. Didn't Cypher do a convertible note also? I'm trying to think here. But I think they're going to go with like convertible notes here going forward. I think that seems to be the fad right now with the miners, right? So we'll see how they do on that one. Okay. Let's see. How much revenue will IREN make in Q4 earnings next year? Oh, gosh, I have no idea. Depending on what their hash rate is, where Bitcoin is at that point, what is the network hash rate, right? How much money are they generating off of that? Going a year out is really, really tough. I can tell you what they're making this year. This year they're going to be at approximately, where is it at? IREN will be at, for this quarter, at approximately 111 million, roughly. Give or take, 1 or 2 million there. But that's kind of where they should be. That's also going to be their best quarter here in the last, ever. So they're going to do very, very well also. They should do very well at that point. They're getting to scale, right? And that's one of the things that I've talked about in the past is these miners have to get to scale because scale fixes a lot of the issues that you have with all the other costs, overhead, SG&A, salaries, all that stuff. Once you get to scale, that fixes a lot of the issues there. And it's nice that they got there this year and growing into next year as well. So that's really good. Let's see. Okay. Kaz says Google Bitfarms insider trades records. I did that yesterday. I couldn't find it. Maybe I wasn't looking hard enough, or was pulling up some. Google pulls up different search results for different people. So what I got might be different from what you got, depending on what I look at and things where I look. All right. Let's see. Question: how much do you think the miners' stock price will drop if BTC goes to around 80,000? Wouldn't all the miners be down at least 25% lower from current? Probably, yeah. I would think that would probably I wouldn't say maybe the most I think they would be is down 25% from where they are right now. The Bitcoin drops another 10%. The miners probably, some maybe more, but somewhere around there. Let's see. Why was Cypher up 8% before the open? I do not know. I didn't see that one. Okay, why are people on X so hyped on Mara, always talking about Mara's BTC holdings? Well, they're looking at it as, like JP Morgan has stated that companies that hold Bitcoin should get a value of like a 2x in their HODL. So that's one reason there. And then maybe they're going to be going the strategy of MicroStrategy playbook, buying Bitcoin all the time. They're going to be a miner and they're going to be buying it also. And people are correlating that to MicroStrategy, which has done really well in the last year or two. So maybe they're thinking that would then translate over into actually Mara. What is your top 3 miners ATM or at the moment? At the moment right now, I have Cleanspark and IREN as my top 1 and 2. Bitfarms is like number 3, but I think there might be other ones in there that might actually do better, possibly, just because of the way that Bitfarms has performed this past year. But it could also surprise us going into 2025 where it does better. I think ones to keep an eye on are also like Marathon, Riot in there. Those guys have been operating much better with their operations as of the last couple of months, so that's good to see. Cypher is going to be having a lot of growth in the second half of 2025 and into 2026 as well. And then the one that's kind of surprised me here recently has been Bitdeer. Bitdeer's been it's been doing fantastic. So we'll have to wait and see. Let's see, question. You can see all the Bitfarm purchases on SDI Insider Report, which, with that said, do you think these purchases are big enough if they're like 300,000, which is nothing compared to hundreds of millions in Bitfarms? I mean, a buyback is a buy, or not a buyback, but individuals buying shares in the companies, 100 to 300,000 is not, what's what we're looking for? Is a significant amount, I think, right? Especially for some of these guys. So I think it's a good sign. If they're buying, it should be a good sign. Okay, let's see here. That info is free. Send me an email and I will show you how to get it. Okay. You can. Am I following you on X? If I am, shoot me a DM there. Or if you could put it on X that way. Or if you want, I have my email listed in YouTube profile, right? On the YouTube channel page, whatever it is, the About page. It's listed in there. You can find it there as well. If you could send it to me, that'd be fantastic. I'd really appreciate it. What else? Let's see. Question that those sounds do not cheer us up. The Crime Baby, yeah, or the Booze. I need one with like a money printer. Maybe the song "Money" from gosh, what is that band name there? I'm drawing a blank. I have it in my head. I can see the band, but I just can't name it right now. I'm sure you guys know the band I'm talking about, Money, with the song. Let's see. Defcon says, Seb, I agree. Let's have some fun, and you, sir, have one hell of a sense of humor. I, for one, need that. Appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, sometimes I think humor and laughter is like the best medicine to any woes in life. If you can laugh at things and you can have a good time and have fun, it definitely makes life more enjoyable. I'll just put it that way. Let's see. Question, give me a more sound. It's like more sound. Like more, or something like that? Or are you talking like an actual roar, like that'd be a bear at that point. Bull is something different. Okay. Question, am I an ultra degen for buying short-term call options on MSTU today? That I don't know. I'm not into options at all. The miners themselves are leveraged already as it is. So I don't need any more stress on that. So I don't do any options. I just buy the shares on that. But somebody else here in the comments could possibly provide that information. See, yeah, JP Morgan gives 2x on the miners' hodl position. So currently Mara's entire hodl covers their market cap. So everything else they're doing is free. Yeah, it is ridiculous the way that is being rated for them. It's not only them, it's also a couple other companies. But here's Marathon right now. My number might be off. I think they bought some more Bitcoin here, but that's, $4 billion there. Their market cap right now is almost $6 billion. This is as of Friday, though. I didn't update it today yet. But if you do that 2x, that's basically more than their market cap if they actually got valued at that point on it. But they're not being valued. It's 69% of their market cap right now. Check out Riot also. Riot's at 44%, and I don't know if I have the latest numbers for them also. Cleanspark has a huge, they're actually pretty low. They're being more valued on their operations side of things, it seems like. They're only at 30% than their Bitcoin hodl. So kind of interesting to look at that. Who else has a sizable hodl position? Hut 8 has a sizable position as well, right? They're at 44%. So it's interesting to look at that as well. All right, back here. Question, what happened to Ben interview? Nothing happened. He never responded back. I think I asked him twice, never heard back. Maybe maybe his feelings got hurt when I sold some shares of Bitfarms there. I don't know. I'm still wishing him all the best there. Okay. What else do we have here? Trying to find a question. Okay. Bitfarms insiders buying instead of buying BTC means they believe their share price will beat BTC next quarter. That's also one way to look at it. Yep. Okay. When is IREN or Cleanspark next earnings call? I believe IREN's is going to be after Cleanspark. Cleanspark is doing their quarterly results. So they just did their end of year results in Q3, which was audited. That's why it took a little bit longer to get those numbers. So they will probably be like the first ones to report in February sometime. And then I would expect IREN to be like more towards the end of February. Because again, those numbers have to get audited. Okay. Prediction for monthly production for IREN December. I haven't run the numbers yet. If they're at, what are they at right now? 30, what do they reach? 31 exahash, I think they reached, right? Am I doing the right math there? You can take that take 31 exahash divided by the current network hash rate roughly, or the average hash rate for December, and you can probably figure out how much they were actually able to mine. Take the 450 Bitcoin per day, give that percentage to them, multiply it times 30, and you get pretty close to what they would be at. Okay. Question. I have seen a criticism that Cleanspark's overheads are growing faster than they grow exahash, so they aren't able to enjoy the savings of scaling operations. What's your opinion on this? There is some truth to that with the purchase of Grid, right? They brought in those people from there, but it still should be much lower than what their growth has been here recently. So I don't think it's still going to be that big of an issue there. Okay. Hi, Seb. Can you answer this question? How does the wash sale rule apply to miner stocks? Can I sell one today, example IREN, and buy another one tomorrow, for example? Yeah, you can. I believe you can buy a different stock. I don't believe you can buy the same stock for like 30 days, right? That would be a wash sale. So I think you can buy a different stock. You just can't buy the same one, I believe. I believe that's the way it works. Okay. Okay, let's see here. This is all about miners' price versus BTC price, right? Why is your price targets from few months ago halved? Will it happen again? Bought Cleanspark at 15 when you said it would be 30 to 40 and when BTC was 100,000. I think it's still going to go up higher than that. I'm trying to temper my expectations for you guys. I don't want to be the moon boy. Right. I know that the miners haven't done as anywhere near what I thought they were going to do based on historical numbers that we've seen here. So are we just delayed on those numbers? Possibly. I'm still buying more of these guys, right? I'm buying more Cleanspark, IREN, Bitfarms when I can. I'm still bullish long term within the next like 6 to 9 months. But where will they go? It all depends on where Bitcoin goes, I believe. And it depends on also their numbers here. So I would still be really happy with a 3x. I'm sure most of you guys would be also. If we get a 5x, oh my gosh, that's going to be fantastic. But I've been buying these guys for now going to be what? Since 2022, so we're going on almost 3 years, right? 2022, 2023, 2024, yeah, like 3 years. So my averages are really low on these guys. I'm still in green on everything here. We'll see how much longer that lasts. I think today I was checking it. I was still like a 12% up on Bitfarms. I was still like 29% on IREN. Cleanspark was still over 100% for me. So I'm still looking good there, and that's why I'm looking to buy more if I can. All right, what else do I have here? JK says, Dire Straits, thank you. Money, the song, Dire Straits, yes. Was it Dire Straits? No, Pink Floyd, Money. Ah, you're right, Pink Floyd. Okay. What is your conservative price for Bitcoin, or Bitfarms, Cleanspark, IREN, Hive, Hut 8, and MicroStrategy when BTC at 200,000? Well, conservatively, then you would think that the miners should do at least, if Bitcoin does at 2x from here, the miners should do at least, I would imagine, 2x, if not much better than that, like a 3 or 4x. So that's kind of where I would see those things being at if they get properly valued, and which I think they will once they start reporting their quarterly results, and they're going to be much better. Let's see. Volkman says, I skipped your question. Did I skip your question? No, I covered it. I went over it. Okay, what else here? Kieran, thank you so much for the super sticker. Appreciate it. Let's see here. I'm only sad your predictions are not achieved on miners. Let's hope data works in 2025. Appreciate your work. Guten Rush 2025. Okay, appreciate that. Yeah. Things that did work out this time of year was HPCI plays. That worked out. What else did you have here? You had like some of the energy stocks as well, the ones in nuclear, microreactors, quantum computing, right? Those things have worked out. Whereas the miners, some of the more pure play miners, talking about like Cleanspark, Riot, Marathon, I mean, those guys, Bitfarms, even IREN to a certain extent, have not done as well. So I'm thinking that we will get a reversal, that we will have a rotation into those guys. But when that's going to happen exactly, I'm guessing the first quarter. It should start at least. Okay. Thank you so much for that. Okay, so you just emailed it to me. Great, appreciate it. Thank you. I will check it out for sure. Let's see here. Question from past Patreon sheets. Your prediction 2023 was 45,000 was correct. 2024 was around 110,000. Very close. Yep. 2025, 170, greater than 175. Highs, yeah, pros from February 24 Patreon. Can you make sense? Can you make the same for miners? Miners are more tricky to look further out. The numbers there that I was using was based on historical trends that we saw here with the cycles. So that's a little bit easier to kind of figure out maybe where we should get to. I was also pretty close on the bottom of Bitcoin. I had it at, I think, 13,500 to the bottom in 2022, and it got down to 15,500. So I was pretty close to that as well. Right, my original target here for this cycle was 180,000, but that has kind of changed here with all the adoption that we're seeing here. That might be off, or might still be actually, might be right on. Maybe I'm just getting a little bit too bullish on it. But yeah, the miners are a different boat. That's harder to figure out because you have the network hash rate, which impacts how much they're going to be generating. Bitcoin, what their revenue is going to be like, Bitcoin price. So you have a lot more things that influence them. How well they grow, how badly they grow, what kind of machines they get there. That's all. There's a lot of variables that go into that. So it's a lot tougher to do that. Let's see. Okay. Okay. 523 is my best estimate for November production for IREN. Well, we're looking at December production. DK says the wash sale info says the same stock or similar. I don't think similar means sector. I think it means variations of stock from the same company, not financial advice. Though, yeah, I think that's the way I understand it also. Okay. Okay, here we go. If you lost all your shares and had to start over today, would you buy WGMI or start buying some individual miner stocks? I think I would probably do so I own WGMI in my profit sharing plan, my retirement plan, basically. That's done phenomenally well for me because I got in right at the bottom, basically in January of 2023 on that one. So that one is looking really, really good. That's going to set me up nicely for when I do retire. But now, looking at where we are, where's WGMI as of today? I know it's pulled back quite a bit. I know my stuff has fallen down quite a bit. WGMI is at 2260. It did get to a high of 3189. And you might, if you're just getting into it now, I would say WGMI is a good bet to get into. You get a nice basket of things in there. Right, here it is. As far as performance-wise, it has done pretty good. But then if you're trying to pick individual stocks, whereas this one is kind of like a basket of stocks, you get stocks that have HPCI potential in there and things like that. I would say maybe go with just with WGMI maybe, instead of trying to pick the winners out of these guys, because all it takes is one good news story from any of these guys, press release or anything like that, and they rock it off. And you can't account for that. We don't have insider information on it. We don't know what's going on there. So that's always a challenging part as well. And so I think if you're going to get into it, either get into like WGMI or at least have a handful of different miners in play, right? So you want to have at least a couple pure play miners, maybe a couple miners with HPCI potential in there as well, and maybe a mix, somebody that has a huge hot position, kind of mix it up a little bit. That might be the way to go. I'm doing it on data, and we'll see if my data comes out right. see. Okay. Let's see. You said we've got to get you boned up on your music trivia. LOL. I know the song, but sometimes. So the problem I have a lot of times is names of bands, names of individuals, like you guys even. If I don't interact with you guys on a daily basis or something like that, I have a hard time with names. I don't know why. But then again, when it comes to like other things, the miner data and things like that, and even coding for applications, when I used to do that, I would remember those things relatively easily, the commands and the functions and all that stuff and how to do that stuff. But for some reason, names and things like that are they just go in one ear out the other for some reason. Okay, there's a strong money for nothing. That's another one. Money for nothing, chicks for free, or whatever it was. I remember that one, but that was Asterisk. But the one I'm thinking about was money. The beat was dun, 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 something like that. Remember with the clinging of the money falling or something like that. Ching. That's the one I was talking about. Money. And I'm not gonna try to sing because I suck at singing. See, Tony says, hi, so we appreciate all you do. You're very welcome. I bought Bitfarms, believe going up soon like a rocket. That'd be great. Love to see it. Yes, market is open tomorrow. Let's see, a question. Okay. If Bitfarms shares price goes up, could Ben get in trouble for insider trading? Not if they don't report anything. There's certain time frames and certain window periods where they can buy without having fear of being seen as insider trading. There's also plans that they can be a part of where they will say if Bitcoin or if their stock price goes below a certain point that they will buy, and at that point it's not seen as insider buying as well. So there's ways that they can do that legally. Okay, so do you recall if there was this much frustration with the miners when BTC was near an all-time high in 2020? The space is definitely different. We have a lot more people in it right now than we had in the past. I remember listening to, I think Blondie was still around back then in 2020. So I wasn't as active as I am right now, so I don't know. I don't recall. I remember the miners were going up in into middle of November, into December as well. They were starting to run at that point where the miners here are not doing it this time around. So I just can't recall. Let's see here. This was a pleasant surprise, this earlier stream. I may have missed it, but was there a reason for it, or is something going to start earlier than usual? Or is this going to start? I'm going to try to do these when I can. It's a little tougher when I have to pull in the data from the miners when they report their operations and things like that, because that takes time to pull in all that data and update all the spreadsheets, all the charts, and everything. And so that always takes me longer. So that's why I do it in the afternoon, late in the evening, because I also want to spend some time with my kiddos. And with the kiddos being off for winter break right now, I was able to get this done relatively quickly, get prepared for it. I'm like, okay, let's do this. And I also have a Spaces meeting with the Wolf guys there. We're going to talk about miners there as well. So you're more than welcome to join us on X. We're going to talk about miners for about an hour. And then I just want to spend some time with the kiddos before we go to bed. So that's the main reason why. Let's see. Humble Servant says profit and loss taking for tax purposes. The market will rebound. Yeah, I agree there. We're going to see a little bit more of a dip before we go up. That was a good question. Do you remember people shorting miners in the last bull run? Not as much as I'm seeing it this time around. So I think this time around there's more avenues for people to get access to Bitcoin. In the past, miners were more of a proxy play on Bitcoin in general, because you couldn't really get it anywhere else except for buying Bitcoin directly. And the miners that were mining it and having a hodl position, those guys usually did pretty well. I mean, Mara did fantastically well last cycle. So did Riot and others as well. So it's a little bit different this time around. I think people right now are betting on maybe Bitcoin, MicroStrategy, and they're shorting the miners as a hedge. Okay, let me see. Sorry, I joined 5 minutes back. No worries. Thanks for coming in. Have you noticed any changes in short interest of Bitcoin miners? Any change relation to MicroStrategy price changes. I haven't noticed a difference in that. I think that's MicroStrategy coming down in price because Bitcoin's coming down in price. But the short interest, like I just talked about a little bit, was definitely different last cycle. Let's see. Dad, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm not the greatest salesperson here. So if you guys enjoy it, hit the like button. Definitely helps out. And I'm catching up to all your guys' questions here. Let me see here. Hi, Seb. Still confident? Yes, I'm still confident, but it isn't easy. I've been buying for more than a year, and if I enter now, would be better, but that's life. We have to be patient, guys. Yeah, absolutely. So good question, but no. So in 2021, people were like, let's buy that non-profitable mining company because I can get exposure to BTC in other ways. That was basically, it wasn't based on that. It was just the revenues that they're going to be generating here, just like they did in 2021. The profit margins were, 70, 80%, which they might get to this cycle as well, depending where Bitcoin goes. So that's the reason why they're just going to be making a lot of money, and that's why the stocks go up, right? Okay. And this cycle, people are like, let's buy profitable mining stocks because they went up last cycle. Not because they went up last cycle, because they were so profitable. That's the reason why. Why do you buy a company in the first place, right? It's profitability for any of these guys, right? You're basically making a bet, an educated bet on a company that's going to return greater revenues going forward than where they are from right now, right? That's the only reason why you're doing it. If it wasn't for that, you might as well go to the casino and try your best luck out there. Let's see here. Yes, but 2021 cycle proved the revenue stream was one shot. It's always a time window. There's always a window of about 12 to 18 months where they have really good revenues. That's always the same way. And miners fell into bankruptcy. Only one I can recall, Core, that fell into bankruptcy. There were other ones that are in trouble, but they haven't gotten into bankruptcy yet. And let's see. So there is no precedent of flawed investment. Well, depending when you got in also. Right. So a lot of people made a lot of money last time. I'm still in the green on these guys here this time around. Depends when you get in and when you get out. Let's see. So do you follow EV stocks? Any take on NEO? I don't. I was going to get into the EV stocks probably 2-3 years ago when I started getting into like Rivian, right? I wanted to also take a look at NEO, also Tesla, right? How did they do with productions? Looking back at their historical data from quarterly results, I wanted to take a look at what was their cost structure, right? What did it cost per employee to create a vehicle with certain vehicles, and then as time went on, how that went on, and then could other companies, how did other companies do that, and just kind of compare them on some metrics there as well. But I don't right now. Something we might look into when we get into a bear market again. Let's see. Getfiller says, hey, Seb, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Thanks so much. Same to you. Question, why do you think we could go down to 75? Is there a level there? The major liquidity for shorts is at around 85. So 85,000 would be like 30%, right? Drawdown. The reason I said 75,000 would be just a wick down to the, that would be a wick down to, I think that was on the weekly here. On the weekly, I think if the weekly continues to go up, right? If we have a couple more weeks where we're down, 75,000 might be the spot where it bounces off of the 50 simple moving day average here, which we bounced off of it before in the past as well. So that's kind of the reason I said it, right? But if we go down just the 80%, or sorry, 80%, that's in a bear market. If we go down 30% from the top here, we're looking at approximately, it would be like, even at that point, it's 75,000, which we have seen here historically. We saw just here this last little peak that we had here, where we peaked in March at 73,000 something, right? And then it took us a while to come back down, but we did go down basically 33% here, right? So we've had that correction already where we went down quite a bit. And we've had a rally off of it because of it. So could we go back down to 75,000 and then rally off of that again? We could, right? We've seen this before. Not only in this cycle, but in prior cycles as well, where Bitcoin did, a couple times during the bull run, go down 30% before continuing to go up further. So that's not out of the question that this might happen. So that's why I said I would think 75% or 75,000 on Bitcoin would be like the bottom of where it might actually drop down to here in the next couple weeks. if we're in a continuation of a downtrend here, where we have a correction, not only in Bitcoin, but also in like, you know, the Dow Jones, the NASDAQ Composite as well, S&P, right? We could have this correction where these guys also come down to their 50 simple day moving averages on the weekly. So something to be mindful of. Corrections are, you know, I mean, you can see it up here. You go up, you come down. You go up, you come down. You go up, you come down. And then eventually you get down where we do come down to like the 200 simple day moving average, and we bounce off of that, where we have a major correction, which we might be in. Let me see. I don't know if we're going to be in a major correction. This was back in the pandemic side of things. We had a nice rally. We came down, bounced off it. So anything is possible with this stuff. But that's kind of just what I'm seeing right now, where I think things might get to on the bearish side of things. Okay. And let's see how much I'm doing. Oh, okay. We got to finish this up really quick here because I'm going to be running out of time. It's a question. Can you add a new measure to track where BTC mined per day is compared against their market cap to see which one is most undervalued? So can you add a new measure to track where BTC mined per day is compared against their market cap? So you're looking at, do they mine 22 Bitcoin, and what's that market cap of that in comparison? I don't think, I'll have to think about that one, see how that would actually be of useful to us. Also, did you see the post on Twitter about Cleanspark buying BTC or something? Not sure if you answered. Yeah, I saw that. Somebody else asked that question already. That I think is just moving the coins maybe, but I did not see anything from Cleanspark being reported as being actually bought. Right. And then the question, the Bitcoin miners are essential to the current and future production of Bitcoin. They are the shovels. MicroStrategy does not produce BTC, therefore bullish. Okay. All right. We'll leave it at that, everyone here. So greatly appreciate you guys coming in here as always. There's not much to an update as far as spreadsheets because there isn't any updates. We'll get that updated probably come later on this week. But otherwise, Patreon members get access to all my stuff here. I greatly appreciate you guys coming in here as always. Love you all. Hope you guys have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow if I have time to do an early live stream tomorrow before we go and party the night away. Celebrate the end of 2024 and celebrate the beginning of 2025. So I'll try and get one done before then. So it might be early. We might be like at maybe, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 o'clock, if not earlier tomorrow. Okay. That way I'll wish you guys all Happy New Year. Basically wish you all, well, we'll do that tomorrow. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow.